things about trading Forex is that you don't actually know exactly which trade is going to be a crazy winner or just another loss.
What's up, everybody? We are currently live with the weekly
trade back down to orthodox, then that price is going to be bullish.
Point sort of chasing the market. I was more than happy to stay flat.
Hello everyone.
What the kangaroo tell?
Always recommend trading on the 5 minute.
Some of these exotic pairs in pretty steady uptrend, making these higher highs and higher.
Mostly trend following.
The stimulus in a certain way.
Afternoon or morning or evening, wherever you're coming in from. Hope you're all well. Rohan, how you doing? Good to see a lot of you back in the chat. Appreciate you coming. Thanks to Nick again and A1 Trading for having me back on. I'm a little bit, I don't know if anyone watched the game last night, but I'm a little bit delicate, I have to say. Not 21 anymore, staying up till silly hours in the morning. But anyway, and also, I did say in the chat there I wanted to kind of discuss the pound. Now I have two setups which I'll go through in a little bit on pound longs. Now, whether you know or not know, the European Championships was on, right? And a lot of these games have been held in the UK, right? There's a lot of games in Scotland, a lot of games in England and Wembley. Now that also kind of run that England had. Right, it gets a real feel-good factor around the country. And I think there was about 31 million people watching that game in the UK alone. 31 million, just like half the population, right? So I kind of like the idea of, again, this is just my. I have two trades or one trade in it, and I have one potential setup. But I kind of like the idea of pound longs. I think the economy, or certainly with the spending going in, people are quite happy over the past month. England got to the final. Certainly a lot of spending in pubs and clubs, that's for sure. And I think it might just give that economy a little bit of a boost, which is why I kind of like the idea of buying the pound. Now, that's just my personal opinion. Like I said, I won't buy it unless I have a reason to. So I need a setup to actually buy it. Which I do have in GN, which I'll go through in a second. But I think someone was asking about GJ in the chat. So yeah, my personal bias is I like the idea of buying pound. Yeah, Wimbledon as well, And yeah, you think about it, the last month, I know it might sound silly to a few of you, but if your national team is doing very well, you obviously feel good. You start spending a little bit more money, celebrating, etc. So yeah, I like the idea of buying the pound. So I shall go into that trade I put firstly before I analyze the indexes. So I put this pound New Zealand on. Your long GJ. Yeah, I like the idea of GJ. I'll go into the indexes just in a second. But this setup for me was pretty nice. Even though we've seen the stocks pushing, I don't think that's kind of correlating into the Forex market in terms of the currency pairs, because normally you'd see those, commodity currencies strong, right? Those Aussie, New Zealand CAD. You'd expect the yen, the US dollar, the Swiss to weaken off. That's why I've only taken, this is my second trade of July, because I think the markets, I just think there's something that I don't like about it right now, certainly with how the index looks, but I'll go through that in a second. So this GN, pound New Zealand, big cut with handle, pattern, V reversal, slight reload into this level. Right, so the context there for me is good. We've crossed above this 20 SMA. We're above the 200. Big kind of, the premise of this cut with handle is it's kind of a rising pressure into the level, right? We got this big basing structure here, rising pressure, simple Dow theory into this area, knocking on the door a few times. For me, the reason why I like that with that cut with handle is, you knock the door onto this resistance area a few more times, and eventually it does kind of break. Not all the time, but a lot of times it does break, and it broke pretty nicely. And we got my favorite complex corrective, which is an A, B, C. So we come down here, created A wave, B wave, and C. Now this here, you could potentially take the trade on this candle, but I always like to be on the right side of that 20 SMA, and we got this big bullish bar here. Now, I wasn't in the markets on Friday afternoon. I normally don't trade the Friday US session, so I didn't get in at that point. But I woke up this morning, again, with a bit of a sore head and saw this setup and went in immediately. So took that trade roughly about where it is now. Stops underneath that daily candle. Again, my TP1 is at 1-to-1 risk reward. Always place 2 trades at 50%. And yeah, I'm happy taking that trade to the upside. I don't like where the stock market is. I have a bad feeling about it. I don't like the chart in it. And I just have, I have this kind of niggling feeling that we could be heading for a decent drop. Now, that's just my personal opinion. And the reason why I say that is if we look at this 4-hour chart. So I know you can say to me, okay, we're on an uptrend, right? But just how this chart looks to me, I don't really like it. And even during, and the reason why I'm saying that is even during times like this where you expect things to be quite good, the yen to be weak, the Swiss to be weak, potentially dollar post-COVID to be weak when stocks are pushing up. We've not really got that. We've had this choppy price action, and within the currency pairs, we've seen the Aussie strong, we've seen the Aussie weak, we've seen the New Zealand weak, the CAD weak, even during what is supposed to be risk-on sentiment, right? And I think that's why I've been kind of sitting on the fence for the past 2 weeks, or certainly in July, because I just don't like where this market is. I know we had a steeper corrective here last week. What I would prefer to have seen, right, if we put a simple, let's say we put a simple Fibonacci onto this area, what I would have seen is a pullback into roughly around what I call the 40-60 box, but 38.2 to the 61.8 level, because that for me would have been a bit healthier considering how how far we've moved since this area. So if we had gotten something like this to continue to the upside, I would have liked that a lot better than simply a drop. We have got our V reversal here, but again, I just don't like it. I just don't like it, and that's why I feel that I think this market at some point, I still feel stocks are going to push, but I feel at some point there might be a decent corrective here coming in. If we do look at the daily looks a little bit better. Big bullish engulfer here. We moved on from it. Potentially the same thing. Big bullish engulfer here. Moving on from it. So I am playing it to the downside. I am saying stocks long. You have to say it's risk on, right? We're in all-time highs. We're holding this level. Previous resistance becoming new support. We've held it here. But again, if we take this, this as push on the smaller time frames, again, another simple fib from the top of the area to the start of the move to the end. Again, we didn't quite reach that 40-60 box that I like to see trends go into for continuations longs. So yeah, I'm just a little, but I mean, what is your guys' think? Do you believe stocks are ready to move? Do you think this is going to continue? I mean, what's your opinion? I just think, again, this show is just about my personal opinion. I'm not always right. Sometimes I am, but as traders, sometimes we are wrong. But let me know what you guys think. I just have a little bit of a niggling that something's coming. Dollar. So look at the dollar. Now, again, with this dollar, I don't like this, right? Again, with this, I've been speaking that I think we're potentially headed for significant dollar weakness. And the reason why I say that is it looks to be creating a possibly kind of a rising wedge pattern here in the dollar. Do I think if we get a kind of reaction here, if the US session wants to pick it up, the markets definitely seem to be, yeah, I agree. But you think about the London session. The London session was still technically risk on, and those commodity currencies were weak. So this is where I feel that disconnect in the market is coming from. And I kind of, I'm finding it hard to kind of put things together or put things in sense for the way I look at the charts. Again, that's just my personal opinion. But like I said, with this dollar, if we do decide to continue in this kind of fashion, maybe we get, and again, I'm not trading this is not confirmed, but possibly we get another reaction at this area like we did before. The theoretical premise of the rising wedge is it's, a trend change pattern, right? A trend change indicator. And, if we do continue to kind of motor on up here, and I don't think there'll be a lot of bullish pressure, maybe, if we get a break, something like that, I just think that is my bias, or that is what I possibly can see. Again, it's not confirmed, but I just have a feeling that dollar could get up to that 93.40 level and, have a decision to make. Just last week after FOMC, the market seemed risk off. Yeah, I agree, Don. I think that's the thing. They seemed risk off, but they weren't risk off. So it's those conflicting messages, and that's why I think I've been kind of sitting on the sidelines, waiting for a little bit of clear direction, waiting for that index. Because, for example, if I take this back, for example, I made decent money here, right? Because I remember it. Right? This is actually my favorite context for the SPX. I've talked about this a few times on stream, right? The big impulse, which we had there, the loss of momentum, and then the harder reset. In this section, right, probably this section, I made a decent bit of money as a trend continuation trader, right? Because just here, when we pushed on, and certainly when we, broke through B wave, which is what I consider quite a key level. When we broke through that B wave, I was really confident in that market going up, really confident in that market because of the context it kind of came in. You can kind of say something similar here, but it's just not as nice as it was back there. And, if we had something similar to this, markets have a memory. I've seen this time and time again, and then they push on. You'd expect, for me personally, in my strategy, to make a decent bit of money during this section. And I've not done that. I'm not taking a trade. So I feel that, I just feel like there's something that's coming. That's my personal opinion. I feel like something's coming, but I could be entirely wrong. Like I said, the daily chart doesn't look too bad. And we're still on an uptrend, which we have been for quite some time since COVID hit. And, what do they say? You can't fight the trend. I'm trying to fight it, but, I just worry about that index. But like I said, with dollar, I can see some potential dollar weakness. Winter's coming. Yeah, you're right, exactly. That's quite a good one, Parcel. So with this dollar, potentially, this doesn't look good either, does it? We've got the 4-hour anchor to the uptrend here using, simple Dow theory. If we get a break underneath here, will this be a possible fake? Will we come up and do this? Possibly. We've seen that happen time and time again. If we get a sustained break, like I said, with this chart that I don't like, I just kind of see in my crystal ball, if it's not a crystal ball, a hazel ball or whatever that sometimes works. That's what I kind of think. Anyway, winter's come. Trader's intuition. Yeah, exactly. That's it. You have to go with what you feel, right? If you've been, so I've been in the market for 6 years. And whenever I don't go with my gut, right, sometimes I get it wrong. And I just said to myself, well, why didn't I go with what I thought? Because being in the markets and, looking at these charts, looking at the indexes day in, day out for years, you kind of pick up on little stuff that sometimes you kind of don't back yourself enough to do. And if you're knowledgeable enough, and, a lot of you guys on the stream here seem very knowledgeable, just go with your gut. So it doesn't mean, even if I say, or if I say this thing, or I say that, just go with yourself and back yourself in what you think. And that's what I think. So let's see. Let's see if I'm proved right. I'm not going to put my, my house on it or my car keys on it, but that's just my personal bias. So Euro pound. Euro pound is another one that I like to the downside. One of my favorite contexts. So the context that I like, 3 of them: cup with handle, which I think Nick was just talking about on the previous stream, the V reversal, and the head and shoulders, HNS. Those are the 3 contexts that I like to see prior to a break of a significant level. So I'm a breakout trader, and I trade the breakout retest on the smaller time frame, so the 30 minute 1 hour. I trade the breakouts on the 4-hour daily. The reason why is when I was testing breakouts on the smaller time frames, I found that I wasn't, right as much. I didn't make as much money. The stats weren't as good because I'd often be caught in those, dreaded fakes. So I think for me personally, in my strategy, trading those breaks on the higher time frames works a lot better for me personally. Although in June it didn't. So hopefully July's better. Anyway, euro pound, V reversal here. I wouldn't take this yet because, one of my rule of thumbs is I usually like to see roughly around a 50% digestion period, right, prior to that break. And what I mean by that, it's let's say, for example, I have a cut with handle, right? I want this handle pattern because for me, the most important area, if you're a breakout trader, is just prior to the break. So this is okay if you get a kind of basing structure, fine. But this is the most important area for me. And I normally like to see it. Again, this is a general rule of thumb, is roughly around 50% of the basing pattern, if that makes sense. Just to digest that move. Because again, we've had this decent drop in euro pound, creating that V reversal. That is not digested yet. And if you take that breakout, I feel this doesn't happen all the time. If you take that breakout, a lot of the times you can, get caught in that movement upwards. It potentially, if you're going with a trend, it continues in that trend, but you won't be out because of this, move that or break that occurred that just wasn't ready to occur. So what I want to see here is, potentially complex corrective, potentially price acceptance or price accumulation, prior to this area, ideally with lowering volume before taking a potential break. Ideally, my A-class setup would be a complex and a kind of lowering pressure into this resist or support zone. I'm getting my words all mixed up. That was staying up till 2:30, Ryan. Don't do that again. Lowering pressure into this area to take a potential break to the downside. And I said I do like the idea of selling that. It's on a daily chart downtrend. We broke in this support area. And, any pushes in this euro is getting sold into. So I like the idea of that euro pound to the downside. What else do I like? I like the Aussie 200. I don't know if a lot of you have that on your charts. But again, see, this is just gone now. I couldn't take that breakout because we see the V reversal here. It's just not digested enough. So it'll be interesting to see what this does. It could go on. Yes, it doesn't work 100% of the time, but it's just not a trade that I can get involved in because the digestive period is not enough. And I actually think a lot of these other indexes look a lot better than the SPX. So if you look at the Dow, this actually on the daily chart looks a lot nicer than the SPX, right? So we've had that, we've had this big push, but it looks more ready for movement to the upside than the SPX does. So this US 30 is almost a setup. Like I said, we did our V here. It's kind of pushing through now. Not enough for me to take, but that's not bad. I wouldn't be angry if you wanted to take the Dow to the upside. Indexes are long. You're not a genius to say indexes are long. I don't think I've ever sold the indexes. I always look for long trades in it. Victoria, yeah, the ASX. You mean the Aussie? The Aussie 200, yeah. So for me, that's gone. I can't take that, but it was almost there. And look at this. Look, this just shows what kind of market we're in, right? Just a rangy price action, choppy price action. But I do like that to the upside. I just can't get in, unfortunately. What else did I like? Gold. Gold was a potential on my watch list. If you guys got anything you want me to look at, let me know, and I'll have a look. Because again, as a Mondays are usually quite quiet. No real fundamental drivers until later on in the week. But gold was looking okay on account of this head and shoulders pattern. It did break through just now on US Open. It'll be interesting to see how this candle closes here. Getting a reaction roughly around that 200 period on the 1 hour, which you kind of expect. I think the daily chart's indicating that, this pullback is potentially coming to an end. from this impulse to the downside, potentially breaking out of that. I do fancy gold to be short, certainly if that dollar decides to continue to get a little bit of strength in it. And what I'm looking for, because this is a smaller time frame chart, is a breakout, a retest of this area. So a breakout, retest, and that retest should come in the form of that 200 kind of crossing over, that 20 coming down, give us a catalyst to go short at this point in time and take that market lower. So I quite like that. Context is good, nice head and shoulders here, but will we see this fake? Do you think this will be a fake? I mean, you could look at an area here. I prefer to look at closures. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this particular candle closes, because I've seen a lot of this recently. Market, level breaks, shoot up, those choppy markets, which is why I haven't really been able to take a lot of trades. What do I think of UJ? Let's have a look at UJ. Excuse me, my phone's buzzing. UJ. And also, I'm going to be on twice a week now. So I'm coming on Monday, I'm coming on Thursdays. And what my plan is to do one day where I'm looking at the markets, either Monday or Thursday, depending on which day is better. And then a day where, I kind of do a workshop on a particular topic. And one of the workshops that I want to do is kind of like a Q&A. So for example, if you've taken a trade, right, and you're not really unsure why potentially it was a loser, you're not really sure why it's lost, or, you're looking at a trade, but it didn't quite move the way it did, or the way it's going, or the way that you thought. If you want to send that in, and potentially I can have a look at them, go through them, and do a workshop one day where we go through kind of your particular trades, maybe a winner one, maybe a losing one, and figure out potentially what went wrong, what went right, etc. So let me know if you want to do that, or send me a question on topics you want me to cover. If you want to do that, send me a DM to my Instagram, just down there, I believe, down there. And we can do that one workshop if you guys want to do that. But I will be on now Monday and Thursday, so hopefully you're not sick of seeing my face. Okay, what am I looking at? UJ. So UJ for me, which direction are you looking? Are you looking long or short? You mean off the bat, I'm looking at, a potential corrective here from this move to the downside. So bias off the bat, again, I'm not trading this, is continuation to the downside. Now, in saying that, we have broken a few of these daily anchors, right? But we are on an uptrend. And I do think the US dollar gets some strength. I do think the yen should weaken off with where the stocks are. So Don, which direction are you looking at for UJ? I think we have to wait. I mean, the market's got to tell us what it wants to do, because it's not told us what it wants to do yet. Could have a decent 4-hour bar here. But remember, gold does like a deeper retracement. So for example, the Euro USD likes usually likes roughly around a 50% retracement. The Swiss yen likes a 38.2 retracement. Gold seems to like, a little bit more than the 61.8. So if we do get, a rejection from roughly this area, you could say, well, potentially we're going back down. If it does decide to push through, you've got to think long, because that, for me, that 61.8 is a line in the sand, right? So it's a line in the sand for trend continuation. Once you get up there, you've got to kind of change your bias. So for me, UJ, wait on this 4-hour closure, and then play it to whichever way you're looking. But again, that's just my bias. What else do we want? Pound CAD. Okay, let's look at pound CAD. Pound CAD to the upside. Gotta be. Looks not bad. I was looking at this down here. Who said pound CAD? Parsa. I was looking at this down here, right? And just typically of how it goes, I didn't take it, right? And that's the one that just goes quite well. So this was a nice setup. Obviously, you put your hindsight Harry hat on, it's a lot easier, right? But I was actually thinking, well, just with how the market is, I would rather wait to this area for a potential setup. But, you know, I was looking at down here. Now, you know, we've had a decent push. Like I said, I do fancy pound to be long. We're getting a reaction roughly around this resistance area here. Possibly it maybe turns into my favorite cup with handle. Let that 20 catch up for a continuation to the upside. So yeah, I mean, bias is long on GCAD. You have to say that. And it's been pushing through this area. I like that. Yeah, I like that parser. I'm not trading it, but I like it. What else do we have? Expecting that breakout to happen on which pair? African. I presume that's gold, right? CAD yen. Okay, I'll look at CAD yen. Also, guys, if you like it, I am quite new on YouTube. If you don't know, I've been trading for 6 years, but I've just started this kind of streaming stuff. Just started my Instagram. I'm trying to get to 400 followers. So if you're watching it, you like it. If you could, you know, if you want to follow me on Instagram, that'd be great. I'm trying to get to 100 subs on YouTube. Again, very new. I'm on 82 right now. So if you want to sub to the YouTube, I stream 3 times a week as well on that. So if you want to do that, that would be lovely. What am I looking at? CAD yen. CAD yen, the first thing I notice off the bat here is this daily chart pattern. Right, what's that? Does anyone know what that's called? Any chartist here know what that pattern's called? I'll give you a clue. I'll give you a better clue. Here you go. It's three letters, or that's the abbreviation. So this for me, you know, on that daily chart looks not bad for the upside on that particular pattern. Anybody knows what it is? DCC. Anybody read the book Naked Forex? No? Dark cloud cover. That's what it's called. So dark cloud cover, when you open lower and close 50% above the previous candle. Dark cloud cover. And I'll show you a good example of dark cloud. They're actually very powerful. You know, this is why I like all the simple things. This is why I'm a price action trader, because the simple things work, and they will usually work quite well. So I'll show you this on the SPX, right? So we go to the SPX, we go to the weekly chart. Look what we've had at the end of COVID. What's that? Dark cloud cover. Off we go. Good pattern. Very simple, kind of trend change indicator. And, you know, I like it. So CAD yen, yeah, I don't mind that to the upside, CAD yen. You took a short on the 1 hour. On the 1 hour. I mean, also, who is this? Ali. This is not getting at you. This is not getting at you. But if your strategy tells you to sell the CAD yen, sell the CAD yen. You know, if your strategy tells you to buy the CAD yen, buy the CAD yen. I'm just giving my personal bias. Victoria, what's the book? Naked Forex. So Naked Forex was the first Forex book I ever read about basically trend change patterns, you trading with the absence of indicators. So Naked Forex, great book. Certainly if you're a beginner, great book. But yeah, simplicity. What's the saying? Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. What else are we looking at? CAD yen, done that. Pound USD, Danny. Okay, I'll do pound USD. Pound USD doesn't look too bad, actually. I mean, my bias is long, Danny. My bias for pound USD is long. I do like pound longs. I have a feeling that, you know, the dollar will kind of get up to that 93.5 level, but I think the dollar weakness comes back in potentially at the moment. But maybe we're getting something like this. If this sets up, so who's asked it? Sorry, Danny. So if this sets up for a potential complex corrective here, that's almost a setup for me, right? It would need to give us a little reload, but potentially to take that pound USD to the upside. So this is what they call a basing cup with handle. So a basing cup with handle is kind of at the bottom of a downtrend, where you get that basing structure, you know, potentially accumulation before moving it up. So accumulation at the bottom, distribution at the top for potentially coming down. I don't think that's what this is, but yeah, minus pound USD to the upside. It's true. Sorry, I'm just going through. It's true. I know GJ doesn't respect retracements at all. It moves like up. Yeah, GJ is its own little beast. That's for sure. GJ. Did I look at GJ? I mean, I can say without it, buy GJ. Yeah, I just again here. Look at GJ. Look at that on the daily. Could that potentially be corrective over? You know, big outside bullish engulfing pattern there. Dark cloud cover, whatever you want to call it. It's certainly a bullish pattern. And not only that, we've got it on high volume, right? So that's what I do like to see. Because where's the volume coming from? Institutions, right? The people that move the market. So you want to see high volume coming in. And yeah, for me, GJ to the upside for sure. Well, not for sure, because nothing is for sure. But my bias is certainly GJ to the upside. Took a short on 1 hour. What's the book? Sorry, I'm going to. Thank you. No problem, Danny. Yeah, GU doesn't look like it wants to fall anymore. Yeah, I don't. I don't personally don't think so either. Like I said, I could be wrong, but my bias is that pound gets a decent bit of momentum from this past month, past 6 weeks, irrespective of COVID. They are thinking, I think it's next week, reducing restrictions even more. Everything, I know that the Bank of England came out quite dovish, but for me, all's quite good in pound land, personally. So I don't think there's much more for me. Again, if you want me to look at anything before I go, let me know. And if you do, maybe I'll do this next week. Maybe not this week, maybe not next week. But again, if you want to send me like a screenshot saying, Ryan, I took this trade. I don't really understand what I went wrong. I don't understand why I hit my stop loss. And maybe we can pick a few trades and kind of go through them together. Remember, just because I have an opinion doesn't mean it's right. Everyone else have a different opinion. We can kind of go through it together. And, that's how you improve, right? Learning and improving, figure out what went wrong, and move on to the next one. So any more before I hop off and get an early night? So the SPX is still pushing up. No? All right, guys. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. I will be back on Thursday. Remember, it is a Monday. The markets are quite quiet on a Monday. Some choppy price action. So don't try and force trades. Make sure you stick to your strategy. And any NZD. I don't have any NZD setups personally. What are you looking at? Oil. Okay, I'll do Victoria, let me know if you want me to look at particular NZD, but I'll do oil and then one more and then I'll go off. So let's have a look at oil. I've not looked at oil actually. Oil. Now, originally, right off the bat, you guys say oil's an uptrend, so you're, immediately thinking long, even though we've got this kind of breaks of these anchors here, these daily anchors, which sometimes you can say, well, is that a potential trend change? Possibly, right? But what I think may happen now with the strength of this kind of sell-off in oil after this push is maybe we get my favorite complex corrective. Possibly we get this before continuation to the upside. So I would say, if you're looking to buy oil, yeah, wait for that corrective to finish. I don't think that corrective's over. For me, from a technical perspective, I think maybe you could see another leg potentially. Again, we're just looking at digesting these moves. If we get a potential, ABC, AB shallow C, a catalyst down here, you look at your, again, simple patterns on the daily, hammer and golfer, morning star, evening star, etc. Before taking that long. Yeah. My bias would be that. Oil longs. UJ, I covered UJ, so if you go back on the channel, you'll see it. If you rewind a bit, you'll see me cover UJ. I think I said long, didn't I? I think I said UJ long. I can't remember. Anyway, go back. I did cover it. All right, everyone. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all. Again, appreciate you guys coming. I always enjoy coming on this stream. you know, my girlfriend's sick of me talking about the market, so it's always good to come on and chat to people who actually enjoy doing it. So yeah, and I'll be back on Thursday. All right, thanks everyone.
Hey guys, thanks for watching today's show. I hope you enjoyed it. And before you go, make sure to check out our guest today and also subscribe to the A1 Trading YouTube channel if you have not already. Risk Calculator is a risk management tool built specifically for MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5 to help you position size properly. Their easy to use software will allow you to enter and exit positions with lot sizes that are calculated for you, suited to your risk management settings that you allow for the tool. This is a big thing because a lot of us struggle with over leveraging or accidentally taking a position size too big, and Risk Calculator is there to help. Like I said, with the click of a few buttons, you're able to set your trade and the lot size will automatically be calculated for you so that it suits your risk management plan. In addition to actually setting your trades with the proper lot size, it also allows you to manage your trades as they're going along. Things like trailing stops, moving stops to break even, or even partial take profits are all tools or features available with the Risk Calculator functions that are available on MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5. If you're interested in checking out Risk Calculator, there's a link down below in the description. And if you use that link, it does help to support what we do here on the channel, which is provide free trading content, again, by the thanks to the help of our sponsors. So thanks so much for watching today. Again, make sure to subscribe to us here on YouTube if you haven't already, and we'll see you back in the next one.